Hello and welcome back to one of our mini training sessions on Workbooks CRM. And in this one, we're going to cover multi-language support in Workbooks. So if you're an existing user of Workbooks CRM and have non-English speaking users who need to use the system in their language, or maybe you're looking right now at a new CRM system and want to know how Workbooks supports languages other than English, then this is the session for you. And we're going to cover the two key ways in which Workbooks has this multi-language support. So hello, my name is Tim Wilmot, and I'm joined by my colleague Stuart Lawrence-Hyde. And our company, Wisdom Systems, we're a leading independent CRM solutions provider of systems like Workbooks. So we help out organizations use simple solutions to improve their sales, marketing, and customer service productivity. And thanks very much to those of you joining us live today for this mini session, our regular series of short workbooks presentations focusing on different topics. And I said, in this one, we're going to cover multi-language support. Now, the audio part of this presentation is one way only for those of you on here live. If you've got a question, please type that into the question box on your meeting control panel, and we'll do our best to answer those at the end. Okay, so let me pass over to my colleague Stuart now, and we'll go through a short demonstration.
Okay, thank you, Tim. So, as mentioned, in Workbooks, there are 3 additional languages that users can access once the module has been added to the database. The advantage of using the language module is that it follows the user. This means that it does not matter what browser they use. Once they log into Workbooks, they'll use the language associated with their account. Now, all the standard Workbooks fields and messages will be automatically translated, but you will have to go through each of your custom fields to make sure they get translated. The system will do its best using the Google Translate feature, but it's worth just checking. And I'm going to see if I can give you an example here. So we've got a people record open, and I know that on one of these fields here, this interests field, I know that this is a custom field. So obviously in English, it's interests, but I just need to double check these languages against a French user, for example. So if we're going to start configuration and go into the customization, and again, I want to go into the record types and open the people record. I just need to go and find that interests field. Now I know, there we go, multi-select. And CF obviously tells me that it's a custom field. And this little hidden reveal here is where all the language translations are. So English is interests, German, Spanish, but I don't think that's right. If you're ever stuck, you can click this little link here. It will open this. You can put the word in. It'll come back with a translation for you. You can then copy it, come back into here, and just paste it. That will then become the field for a French person. Now, ideally, the person that the administrator, when they're building the pages, will do this automatically as they're putting the fields into the system for the various languages. And as you saw there, I'll rebuild that again: English, French, German, and Spanish. So that's the built-in language modules that will store that value against each field. So what about a quick way to get Workbooks up and running for a French user? Most people where English isn't their first language will have Windows set up to show their language of choice. And this would also go for the browser. However, most users don't know that Edge, Chrome, and Safari can translate what they see on a page. So let me show you how Google does this. I'll leave these records open. And now I just have to click on the 3 dots in here. You see this option for translate. So let's click on it. The plugin appears. I can select choose another language, and then all the various languages become available. Now, I already saw French, so I'm going to click French anyway, and I'm going to tell the system, translate this website. So it only affects this website. I click translate, And in real time, it's gone through and updated all the text for me. The home screen, the desktop, they've been updated. If I click on the menu, these have been updated for me as well. So it's done everything that I can. So if we go back into Aaron's record here, see once again, it's been updated for me. Interests, it's had a good go at translating it for me. Now it's worth noting, of course, that you will spot that it's only updated the labels. None of the data has been translated. So Cambridgeshire Computer Services stays as Cambridgeshire Computer Services. So what's happened to all the menus? Let me expand this so we can get this nice and easy. So if we have a look at resume, obviously for workbooks, that would be the summary tab. Again, it's updated things as we've gone. So all the opportunities, any tasks have been done. If we go and have a look at remarks, which was the new comments field, there are no comments here. If we go have a look at operations, pardon my French, this is the transaction field. So let's open up one of these quotes. Again, the name of the quote stays in English for that first bit, name of the company. The quote then updates itself, the quote name or the label updates itself to French, and all the fields in here change, and so do the product descriptions. So if we were to add another product here and click this for a split second, we'll see it translate. It's now going through translations, and there we go. It even translated all the products for this French user. I can then add that to the quote, save, and move on. Let that save, and I'll close that. Right. There are a few areas where the browser translation will not work. So let me show you. Let me close all these to get back to the desktop. The best one to show you would be dashboards. So if I open up, what's a good one to open up? Personal one here. You'll notice it changes lots of information, but things like target stays as 50,000, and things like January, March haven't been translated. And that's because those values aren't workbooks fields, they're just labels. So the labels were written in English, they would have to be edited for French, and that would just be a case of opening up this chart here, then going into it, and then changing what the data can show. So no matter how hard you try, if you try to refresh it, it won't work. You would need to edit the data. So very quick, very easy. Those are the two ways with which the system can translate. The first one is built in, where it will do all the fields within the system for you and follow the user around. The second one, using the translate feature that's built into Chrome, Edge, or Safari, will do its best using the translate feature built into the browser to translate the labels for you. And back to Tim. That's languages.
Thanks very much, Stuart. So just before we pop into our questions section for those of you on here live, just to recap about Wizard Systems, we are a long-standing provider, independent supplier of a range of different CRM solutions, including workbooks. And with workbooks, we provision the product. We provide any kind of implementation help you need, training as well. That can be at your site, on site or online, and all the ongoing help desk support as well to help you get the most out of the workbooks application. So I think there's four questions that have come through, Stuart. Vanessa, we have a Madrid user. How can they see a different screen layout, tabs and fields? I guess that user compared to a UK user.
You would use the record view, would probably be the easiest. You could create a group in the system, Spanish, just call the group Spanish and put that user into it, and then put that create the Spanish layout for them. And then when that user opens a particular record, they would see the Spanish layout rather than the English layout. But that's probably it. Oh, that would be the cleanest.
Yeah. So kind of leveraging a nice feature of workbooks to display different screen layouts of the same record, different screen layouts to different users, maybe on job role or location. Kelvin, what about support for Chinese simplified?
Oh wow. Yeah, I obviously I went with French, but Google Translate does have Chinese simplified. I can't tell you as to its quality. I guess it would be really good, but it would just be a case of going into Google Translate and from the options available, selecting Chinese simplified, and then all the labels will then be converted into Chinese characters rather than the default characters.
Yeah, I suppose then the discussion would be the physical data that you put in, is that going to be in Chinese or English, depending on how it's going to be used. But certainly the application will accept, in the data, will accept the Chinese character set. Okay, Tony, imports, we have data in German. Is it okay to import? I guess it's with the different character set, accents, and so on in German.
Yeah, they'd be accepted. You'd have to check the CSV to make sure the CSV doesn't do anything naughty and strip special characters out. But if the CSV allows the German character set with the umlauts and the various extra ones, then yes, they would be imported as they were into workbooks.
Okay, and the last question from Will. You created a label in French, so a French user will see that as you'd create it, and not that automatic browser translation, I guess is Will's question. One's not going to override the other, I guess, is what he's asking.
No, if you're using the French language module and you've created a custom field with your label, then it will lock it in, and even if you're using translate, it won't change those values. Its job is to look for really what a browser can see, but obviously if it's a French word, it won't translate it into a French word.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that answers Will's question. So come back, Will, if that's not the what you're looking for. Right. I think that's it, Stuart. We'll just wrap this up with an update as of February 2024. Current release of workbooks you're using is 7.2. WES is being replaced by WOX. So WES is Workbooks Exchange Server Sync, and that is replacing the older technology. This is for Outlook, email, calendar, and contact sharing with Outlook 365. So the Workbooks Outlook connector, or WOC as we call it for short, is being phased out over the coming months, being replaced with WES. It's a far more efficient server-based integration. We're hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to cover this on our next session next week in a little bit more detail, show you WES if you haven't seen that before. Simpler for the users and a painless transfer to move from one to the other. We'll cover that in more detail next week. So just if you're using the Workbooks Outlook connector, which if you've been using workbooks for a long time, many years, you might be on that older way of integrating with Outlook email, calendar, contact, sync, being replaced with better technology. Right. If you've got any topics, suggestions for future workbooks sessions like this, Workbooks 101, please drop us a line. Myself or Stuart would like to hear from you. But that's it from us. We will catch up with you hopefully next Wednesday, and maybe on WES. Thanks very much indeed. Bye-bye.